You ever have one of those days where you feel so anxious that your brain just kind of checks out, like you're trying to think through a really thick fog? Well, today, we're going to dive into exactly that, the super frustrating connection between anxiety and brain fog.
Yeah, it's that feeling, right? You're totally overwhelmed. Your mind is just racing with a million worries. And when you try to actually focus on something, it feels like you're wading through thick mud. Your thoughts are all over the place, and clarity feels like it's on another planet. If that sounds a little too familiar, stick around. Let's figure out what's really going on.
So, first things first, what even is brain fog? It's a term we hear a lot, but what does it actually mean?
Now, it's super important to know that this isn't an official medical diagnosis in itself. Think of it more like a symptom, a sign that something else is going on. It's like a cloud just rolls into your mind, making you feel kind of mentally numb, where even simple tasks all of a sudden feel like they take a ton of effort.
So, what does this actually look like in real life? I mean, maybe you've walked into a room and then completely blanked on why you went in there. Or maybe you felt that deep mental exhaustion where just the act of thinking feels draining. These are all classic signs of brain fog in action.
All right, so why does this happen? Let's dig into the direct link between that anxious feeling and a foggy brain.
Okay, I want you to imagine your brain is like a computer, and it only has a certain amount of processing power, right? Well, anxiety is like a huge, clunky program that's running in the background 24/7. It's just hogging all the resources. And this isn't just a metaphor. When you're stressed, your body gets flooded with cortisol, which can actually mess with the part of your brain in charge of focus. It just eats up so much mental energy that there's way less left for everything else.
You know, when you're feeling anxious, your mind is just constantly getting interrupted by worries. This directly hits what's called your working memory. You can think of it like your brain's short-term sticky note. And when that sticky note is already covered in anxious thoughts, there's just no space left to jot down anything new.
So, how can you tell if this is what's happening to you? Let's run through a quick checklist of the most common signs.
A lot of times, it starts with just feeling kind of spacey or a little confused, and all that mental effort can be absolutely exhausting, which leads to fatigue. It's also incredibly frustrating when you lose your train of thought right in the middle of a sentence, or when that perfect word is right on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't seem to grab it. These aren't just random bad days. They're all connected pieces of the brain fog puzzle. Okay, now for the part we've all been waiting for, the good stuff. What can we actually do about this? Let's talk strategy for clearing the haze.
There are really two main paths you can take here, and honestly, they work best when you walk them together. On one side, you have medical treatments. These are designed to tackle the root cause, the anxiety itself. And on the other side, you've got your daily self-care and lifestyle habits that help build a really strong foundation for mental clarity.
So looking at the professional side, the whole goal is to treat the anxiety head on. This could mean things like medication or psychotherapy. Something like cognitive behavioral therapy is fantastic for building real, practical coping skills. And, even getting small adjustments or accommodations at work or school can make a huge difference.
And here's the stuff you can start doing like today. And listen, these aren't just fluffy, nice-to-have things. They are essential. Getting enough sleep, staying hydrated, eating good food, that's literally the fuel your brain needs to run properly. Using schedules or apps helps take some of the load off your brain. And mindfulness, exercise, or just taking breaks, that's you actually telling your anxiety to take a back seat so your mind can get some fresh air.
But here's a really important question. How do you know when it's time to stop trying to handle it on your own and actually see a doctor? Let's make that super clear.
First, let's just get this out of the way. Everyone gets brain fog sometimes. Seriously, after a terrible night's sleep or during a super stressful week, it's completely normal to feel a bit out of it. The key is knowing the difference between that occasional fogginess and a problem that just won't go away.
So here's what to look out for. If the brain fog is consistently messing with your work, your relationships, or just your ability to get through the day, that's a big sign. If you're forgetting important things like paying bills, or if it feels like your memory is just getting worse over time, it's time to talk to someone. And especially if you've tried all the self-care stuff and that intense anxiety just isn't budging, definitely make that appointment.
Ultimately, it all boils down to this. The brain fog is the symptom, not the actual disease. It's the smoke, not the fire. When you start to address the root cause, the anxiety, that's when you can finally start to lift that mental cloud. Getting the right support is the most powerful way to get your clarity back.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is just one small step you can take today to start finding some clarity?
Maybe it's a 5-minute breathing break. Maybe it's just drinking an extra glass of water. Or maybe it's finally making that doctor's appointment. Whatever it is, just remember that one small step is all it takes to start walking out of the fog.